special launch of cinnamon. So there's a lot to talk about here and there's a lot to get excited about. Andrew, you have often said that you love to listen to customers, to hear what they have to say, to hear what they would like you to do. And for the longest time, people had asked you if you made a supplement to help with blood sugar metabolism. And here we are today, you did it.
Well, it was something I was asked for decades, and unfortunately the answer was no. That there wasn't a specific supplement, certainly. Cinnamon had a lot of traditional medical guidance in terms of blood sugar metabolism and blood sugar, supporting healthy blood sugar levels. But unfortunately, I require, when it comes to making a product, I require not only the traditional guidance and the traditional science, but I require the serious modern science that validates and establishes the benefits. And that started rolling in on cinnamon about 10 years ago. So it was probably about 7 or 8 years ago that we had initially introduced our cinnamon extract product that delivers cinnamon bark extract standardized for the important compounds that deliver the benefit that so many of us seek. We're getting older. Our body composition can be challenging to us. Our inactivity could also be challenging. Our diets can be challenging. So we find our fasting blood sugar level, our A1Cs are higher than our doctors would like. And that means we have a list of things to do. We have to focus on our diet. We have to focus on activity levels, try to change our body composition, and follow our doctor's guidance in terms of the medications he or she might recommend.
Right.
And the way I look at it, cinnamon is just the perfect natural addition. You, of course, want to continue to doing all those things, and what I always say, cinnamon can only help, and the help it delivers, I think it tends to encourage us, because there's nothing like seeing positive results in terms of how our body is managing blood sugar, how it's managing insulin metabolism. I think those positive results encourage more positive actions, and that's why cinnamon is such an exciting natural addition.
Well, it's important to know that out of 718 reviews, 596, so really 600 or so, are perfect 5-star, and another 57 are 4-star. So you really have an extraordinary number of perfect reviews on this. But the biggest thing that I know even folks here in the studio have asked over the time is, wait, is this like cinnamon the spice, the normal spice that I can go to the grocery store? And I always say, no, it's different.
No, I just had a friend of mine ask me that same question. And I said, I wish I could get the ingredient in this product at the same price as cinnamon spice.
Right.
Yes, they do come from the same plant and the same part of the same plant. But we'll talk about cranberry in a moment, but what creating a standardized extract is all about is once the traditional science and the Western science, the serious science, once the two of those kind of combine to inform you, or say me as a manufacturer, what is the important ingredient in cinnamon? What is the important ingredient in cranberry? Once we identify that, we then target that and we extract those ingredients from the natural source. Unfortunately, that generally means that regular cranberry or regular cinnamon will cost 1/10 as much as the standardized extract. But what it means is that instead of having to swallow a dozen capsules to get the benefit, or say with our turmeric, 30 capsules to get the benefit of one, right, you get something that's affordable and easy to use, because it's, I think, impractical to think that any one of us, to get the benefits of cinnamon or turmeric, are going to want to take a whole handful of capsules. That would cost too much, and it would just be impractical.
Well, when it comes to cinnamon, you know, we say the number of reviews. These are very vocal reviews. I'll read a couple of them here so you can get some idea of the difference it's made in people's lives, the impact that it's had. The first one, you know, entitled perfectly, must-have product. if you're tracking your HbA1c, you must use this product. My A1C was 6.2. My doctor gave me 3 to 6 months to lower it on my own. I started this product and cut out most sugars and bad carbs. My A1C is now 5.8. I can't live without this. And turmeric as well. Thanks, Andrew. I knew I could count on your products, and that's so important because you can always count on Andrew to deliver the very finest form of what it is you're looking to take. This one, it works for me. In June, my A1C was 6.1. After taking this product for about 10 months, my A1C was 5.7. I will continue to use this product. I'm almost 65 and have been pre-diabetic for many, many years. I do not want to take medication, so I decided to give this a try, and it sure works for me, thank you. And then last one, amazing supplement. My doctor said I had borderline unhealthy blood sugar levels some years ago. So I've used your products for a decade now. I decided to seek help from your inventory of supplies. Sure enough, and there it was, Cinnamon350. They worked, and no signs of glucose irregularities to date. I take them daily, and I feel so confident and relieved with a product so well done. Thanks, Andrew. Andrew, let me read that last line to you. I feel so confident and relieved of a product so well done. I mean, that's the ultimate praise, isn't it?
Well, that's what I hope everyone feels when they try my products. And all we could do is we follow, as I say, my job is to follow Mother Nature's blueprint, kind of get out of her way, and make sure that whatever we're seeking in terms of a natural product is also following modern science. So we rely on both, and then when we make our products, of course, they're 100% pure. They're additive-free. They will never upset your stomach. They're easy to swallow. So my goal is to not just make a product that delivers the benefits you seek, but to make sure that there's no issues, no problems, that as they say, first do no harm. And our cinnamon extract, it's not a drug. It's not a medicine. I leave that to doctors and pharmacies. All we do is we want to make sure we do everything possible to support the health benefits you seek, the health benefits your doctors are trying to support you in accomplishing. So my job is actually very straightforward. And as I say, when I do it well, I just get out of the way of Mother Nature. We make products that are ultrafine powders. They're easy to swallow. They will never upset your stomach. So we keep it simple. But the best ingredients, keeping it simple, doesn't mean that they're cheap, despite the fact that this product is, I guess, pennies a day. So it's less than 20 cents a capsule to enjoy the benefits of this product.
And here it is, Andrew, 30, 60, 120, or 240. The month of August is going to deliver extraordinary savings. So to give you an example of how affordable this is, the largest, most economic choice, the 240, is only $44.90. That saves you $20 off the regular price. It's so affordable, that's why so many people are jumping in. And that was the same, of course, with turmeric, the same with our cinnamon. And as we head over this way, it's gonna be the same story with our last, but by no means least, monthly special, our cranberry.